Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. I am Ashley. I'm a homeschooling mom with 7 kiddos. Our oldest will be going into 8th grade. And that is kind of who I'm doing this video about today. So we have been using the Good and the Beautiful language arts for a few years now, 2 years, maybe 3 years. This is our 3rd year. Yes, because I don't think we did it the first year. And so going into 8th grade, I wanted to make sure that because they do not have like your typical course curriculum book like the other levels, I wanted to make sure that this was adequate for him going into 8th grade. So at first I thought it was just like a regular just book study where you read, you answer some questions. But I wanted to show you because it's a little different than I expected, and I'm pleased with it. So that's a good thing that it's different. But I wanted to show you what the 8th grade book study course looks like from The Good and the Beautiful. There are 3 total that it comes with. So we have the little book studies that look like this, little spiral bound. So we have Abraham Lincoln. We have 2 that are mixed in with this one, The Touch of Magic and The Story of My Life. And then we have Wild Like the Foxes is this other thinner one. So they each come, well, you buy them separately. I did not have to buy the Abraham Lincoln book because we already had that one, but this is what it looks like at the bottom here. But he has not read it yet. So I'm glad he hasn't read it yet, but I bought it a while back thinking that he was going to, but he didn't. So that is the Abraham Lincoln. Wild Like Foxes is a level 8 here. And then level 9, it has The Touch of Magic and The Story of My Life together. Just 2 books. So let me just show you what each of these are pretty much the same as it relates to the concepts that it goes over. Writing, spelling, grammar usage, and punctuation. Let's see, a couple of these have geography, vocabulary, literature, handwriting, and art. And I think, yep, those are all of them. But I guess depending on the story, it is going to have various things that it's going to go over. So I'm just going to use, I will use the Abraham Lincoln one for an example here. So when you open this up, it is laid out like your typical course book. It's just a little bit more in depth as it relates to the reading and the books and the questions. So it'll talk about what topics this particular book study covers, materials that are needed, how many book studies should be completed and in what order. It says here that each lesson takes an average of 25 to 35 minutes to complete. So that's typical for the language arts, about the same amount of time it would take him to do his work this year. So that's really not much different. At a glance, it talks about how many lessons there are. It talks about the art that's included. So within each of these different concepts, it has a little bit more detailed information. Correlated literature studies, writing, like what the writing will entail. It has the vocabulary words that are written in here that you would want to know the meaning of. Memorization. So sometimes they're memorizing, the memorization factors I do, and sometimes I don't. I am just going to leave that up to him, and I'm going to see kind of when we get there what it entails and what they want you to do with that particular piece. So, but it does have memorization here. And so when you memorize it, it has different parts here, the different verses that you can practice with. And so here's like your first lesson, the course introduction, prefaces and forward. So it wants you to read, tells you when to read certain parts of the book. the handwriting, so a quote from Abraham Lincoln, it will have you right here. And then, like, for example, lesson 2, you have spelling here, writing in alphabetical order, so just practicing your spelling, homophones, vocabulary, and then, let me see, oops. And so, for example, it says, to your parent or teacher, read the following biography of Wilbur Fisk Gordy, author of Abraham Lincoln. So it talks about the author and who wrote the book, more handwriting. So I'm pleased that it has all of these things. It has editing. I don't know if y'all can see that very well. It has editing here. So it has different excerpts about Abraham Lincoln here that they'll want you to edit. You have a notebook that it'll want you to, that you will do all of your writing exercises with, and anything else that it wants you to add in there. And spelling is not just like, here's the word, rewrite it. It has you do different things. So create a spelling ribbon, the words written in a line that curves, waves, or takes any form you would like to make with these spelling words, each used 2 to 3 times. Art and geography, so where he's from, information about Kentucky. There's your geography part. Here is your art. They always have such nice pictures in here. And then they'll tell you when to read. So read chapter 3. Remember to take notes in this section of your notebook you titled Noble Character Traits of Abraham Lincoln. So that is an example of what these book studies entail. It is like a course book, but in a much smaller form. The same with these. It is going to be the exact same layout with this one that has the 2-in-1. Talks about different terms, literary devices, poetry, rewrite the sentences with similes to create greater meaning, depth, and description. Writing short answer responses, more spelling. On the next page, complete your own short answer response, then check your work and make adjustments if necessary. What would be your ideal job? Tells you kind of how to do the essays, maybe in a little bit more concise way. I am very pleased that this is not all the same with each book study. Each book study is going to have you do something different based on the book, obviously, but in different ways. So it's not just going to be, like I said, your typical spelling list. Here's your spelling. And a lot of it is just kind of teaching it in a way and presenting it in a way that's a little bit more, I want to say mature, but a different concepts and different ways that you can grasp all of the spelling concepts and all of the pre-writing or the writing or the reading or the analytical questions that are going to pop up, and especially in the older grades as you get further up and into high school, where they have to analyze certain pieces or write more detailed descriptions about things. So I think this is a very good language arts course for this level, to it's kind of in the middle. It still has the concepts and the similarities of the other levels before, but like I said, a little bit more mature. It kind of takes it to another level, all while making sure that they pay attention and kind of practice reading comprehension and things like that for the questions that they will ask. So I just wanted to show you briefly kind of what the inside of these look like, in case you were wondering, because like I said, when I first kind of heard book study, I was like, geez, he might need a little bit more than just reading and answering questions. And so, like I said, this is very similar to his course book, but just has a little bit more involvement, I guess you could say. So let me know if you have done these. Like I said, I have not seen many videos on these. And I think there needs to be more. I think there needs to be more stuff on the higher grades, and that's what I'm going to try and do more of too. as we kind of navigate this new chapter and, you know, getting into and preparing for high school and making sure that we have all of our ducks in a row. So let me know if you have any questions about the book study or The Good and the Beautiful Language Arts, any of that, or if you've used it before, let me know. And I will see you guys next time. Take care.